Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a movie review. I just barely got back from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. A long title there. And having of the twice in the title does not help at all. But yeah, this is a very interesting case because I feel like I have both a lot of thoughts and like no thoughts at all on this movie. It's really weird. So I'm just turning on the camera and just just seeing what comes out of my mouth, I guess. I guess I should first off by saying it's good. I think it, at the very least, justifies itself, which was a big worry because obviously you have the first trilogy, and those are quite well constructed story and everything. I think it got better as it went along. And so the final one was a nice, good conclusion, and they could really end it off there. They obviously left it open for sequels, like we see here, but it was just a good story that didn't need anything else. So the announcement of another movie, a sequel, being pretty disconnected from those last three, just because of the large amount of time distance. Obviously, there's still effects from those other movies that carry on, especially with Caesar's influence carrying on. Obviously, this movie is still obviously a sequel. It's not something you could see it like all by itself, but you should probably watch the first three before watching this one. But so since those ones are a nice story, it feels weird to just add another thing on and try to keep it going. Especially when we ended on a banger. Like the last one, War for the Planet of the Apes, was the best one of the three. But this one, it's good, but I have a hard time feeling like it really built off those other three. Those three, they were, as I said, a continuous rise in quality. And this one, it kind of drops back down. I think it's better than the first one, maybe, but not as good as the second one. Which, it might make you think, well, that means it's still good. But it's really hard when we've been going up, and when it goes back down, it's hard to really say, oh, this is like it. I don't know. It's hard to really defend it too much. I still think, obviously, I said it's good. I think what it excels in. By the way, I didn't even say this. I just got into it, but I'm gonna be doing spoiler free stuff for right now, and then I'll get to a few more spoilers later. But obviously, like visual effects, these movies have always been famous for that. The apes just they look really good. They look like real apes, while still being able to animate them with very realistic human facial expressions and stuff like that. And so it's always really impressive. And this one just carries on with that. And obviously, there's other special effects other than the apes that are super impressive. There's a lot of shots of landscapes, which have obviously been, assisted with CGI that look really good. This movie has, quite a few good looking shots. It's a good looking movie. It's not like incredible or anything. There's no shots that really blew me away, but the entire thing is very consistently good in terms of those visuals. Now, the characters. This is a big part that I feel like has to do with my idea that this one does not build off the other ones. We have a new main character, and we have a new main character. He's an ape named Noah, and I think both him and Caesar are very simple characters. But I think Noah is he's just not nearly as good as Caesar, because Caesar had such a big impact. He had such a big presence on screen. And here, you just don't feel that from Noah. And I guess that's not really what you're supposed to feel. He's not like the leader or anything. But it's just really hard to go from that, Caesar, who is just, I think, a really great character, to this. And it's fine to have simple characters. As I said, Caesar's a simple character, but Noah is just kind of bare bones to a point where it's really hard to care from. Like the introduction part of this movie, it has a lot of, world building and character stuff, which I think was good. I really enjoyed that. But like a lot of it was really basic stuff, like, oh, this Noah guy, he's a good guy because you see him helping people out, and he's also brave, and that's kind of it. He doesn't have a lot to really go off of, and he doesn't have a lot of real complicated thoughts until like maybe later on in the movie with some of his interactions. But for the most part, it's not really all that complex. He's still a fine character. He still guides us through this movie just fine, but not it's really hard to go from Caesar to this. The other characters as well, I did not feel like were super fleshed out. Um, I think the villain was solid, again, just not fleshed out. And there's just a lot of cases of that where there's a lot of characters where I'm like, yeah, that's a good character that I wish we just got a bit more of. And what I do like about this movie is it does have lots of times for character moments and character interactions. They do a good job with that, with taking time to have just conversations between characters to help build that up. But they just aren't quite the quality that I wish they were. They're very good, and I'm super happy that they're there. But I was just like, oh, but what if they were just, a little bit better? And that's a hard thing to do, I guess. And it's like if I isolated this movie, I would not think too much about that. But just having it be part of this series, which has, uh, you know, two other movies that I would say are significantly better than it makes it a very, very hard case. But another thing I should go back to being positive. I did enjoy this movie. I like the world building. I think it's really interesting what they did, where you have these different tribes of apes, and it sort of shows that they've developed their own culture. For example, the main character Noah's his tribe has a very big focus on raising falcons and birds and using them for hunting. It's shown that they live near a lake. They use the birds to catch fish, and this is all like delivered very well. It's not just like straight up told to you. It's not just like an exposition dump. It's just shown to you very well, and you can see all that. And I thought that was really cool. And it also, implies that there's going to be other tribes where they have their own cultures that we might see in later movies, because this one does leave off in a way where there could be more movies. And so I thought that was cool. Obviously, there's the main enemy tribe that we deal with as well in this movie, but I guess I won't go crazy far into that. But yeah, I think this was a really solid movie. Now, where was I going? I was talking about the tribes, oh yeah. So I said this movie justifies itself. And I guess I should also say in terms of the plot, I was into the plot the whole time. I was intrigued. I wanted to know what would happen next. There's no huge surprises for me, but it was just good writing. It just worked. Again, nothing crazy, nothing amazing, but I don't think it really, there like maybe some small nitpicks I could make, but it doesn't really have anything too extreme that I could really complain about. But this movie, it justifies itself, but I don't know if it justifies starting a new trilogy, which I feel like is what it's doing. It definitely leaves off to have a sequel, and I'm just guessing it's gonna be a start for a new trilogy, but I don't know if it quite deserves that, just because, as I said, I'm not as attached to these characters. Even though I said the very first Planet of the Apes movie is, still my least favorite one. That one at least got me attached and interested in Caesar, and there was a lot of places and I was excited about where the story was going. This one, I'm just like, I could take it or leave it. I don't really feel attached to anything, and I don't really care where the story's going too much. The whole time I was mostly just thinking, man, it'd be interesting to see, what other tribes are doing, as I said, and just, exploring some different cultures and cool stuff like that. But in terms of the main plot, I'm not super into it. So that's kind of my spoiler-free review. I guess I should get into more specific spoilers. I don't know if I'll even have too many spoiler things to really talk about, but if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, form your own opinions. But spoilers are going to start here. So the first thing, I don't even know what my structure for this part of the video is going to be like, but first thing, I guess, is character deaths. There's 2 significant character deaths. I may be missing something, but at the start, Noah, his tribe gets attacked whole village burned down. It's a pretty well constructed scene. Um, and in the process, Noah's father died. And that was one of those moments where it's like, wow, that was actually, it was really, I was surprised that I did feel for him. It wasn't, crazy emotional, but just the way they're able to make the facial expressions on the apes look, and it's very, very human. It did, it got some emotion out of me. Nothing crazy, but I was just like, yeah, that's some good stuff there. Um, that part of the whole thing about his village burning down. There's another thing to it that I did not like as much though, which is that it was kind of Noah's fault. He was out exploring because he needed to find another falcon egg. Some other plot stuff. If you've seen the movie, obviously you know what I'm talking about. But it was because of him that he led the enemy tribe to his village. But they don't really delve into him feeling much regret about that. Like, I thought, okay, so I guess, his main character arc is he's gonna feel guilty for all this, and he's gonna have to deal with that while also figuring out how he feels about humans and stuff like that. I don't know, just some random thoughts that were going through my mind, but they didn't really explore that at all, which feels weird. Like, they could have at least touched on it, just been like, man, like, that was kind of my fault. I kind of led them there, but I guess it's fine. Another thing I want to talk about is Raka. Very, Raka just feels very out of place. He's in the movie for only a short amount of time, and he does not have the impact that I feel like he was meant to have. He's sort of supposed to be like a mentor figure for Noah, sort of telling him about how Caesar really was and how this other tribe they don't know the truth about Caesar. They're just kind of using his name for power and sort of to gain influence, which I did think was a really cool part of the story, that people were taking this legend that was Caesar and sort of using that to their own advantage. But Raka, he talks about how he knew how Caesar really was, like how he loved humans, he wouldn't kill another ape and stuff like that. But like, Noah doesn't get too attached to Raka, but when Raka dies, he's like devastated about it. But I was like, I don't think he ever really got too attached to him, so I don't know why he's like, maybe he did, but I didn't feel that at all. So it was very, very strange. And he was also like Noah wasn't attached to him, I wasn't attached to him. Like, I just didn't care. It felt like he should have been there a bit longer. Maybe he could have done more stuff, but then again, I don't know where his place in the story would be if he was there longer. So it's just very, very strange. What else do I have to talk about? I guess the human aspect of it. We have May, which is the main human character, and I don't know. Like, for a lot of the movie, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of delving into that conflict between the apes and the humans. Like, Noah's just unsure of her, but then he's like, okay, I guess I'll help you out for a while, and then they're on good terms, and then they're kind of mad at each other again, and it's just kind of like, okay. I don't know. They help each other out to get into that big vault, which that vault, the whole vault thing, I was like, this is an interesting part of the story, I guess, but I don't know if I care a whole lot. Like, looking back on it, I'm just like, it was just okay, I guess. Like, the whole climax of them, opening up the vault, and all the flooding, I just didn't care a whole ton. Like, it's supposed to be a big deal because it's like all these weapons and everything that, in the state the world is in now, it could really change things. But again, I'm not attached to the world right now in these movies, so it's a difficult situation. I'm trying to think of more positives. I did really enjoy this movie. I know it sounds like I'm being really, really negative. It's just a difficult case. It's just difficult. I am interested to see what happens next. Even though I said I don't know if this movie justifies a trilogy, I'll watch the next one. I'll see what it's all about. Especially because it left off with a place of, it seems like, okay, the humans are gonna get back together, um, and you know there's gonna be those conflicts again. But it's like, how is that gonna build off what the other movies already did? Like, we've already been through all these conflicts, and again, this movie is not, it's not building off those ideas and doing something more complex or more interesting. It's just kind of the same, which, you know, again, those other movies are good, so the same is also good, but it just, it loses its impact, it loses its luster as time goes on. So yeah, this is a good movie. Okay, you should watch it. I would recommend it. If you've seen the first three and really liked them, go ahead and watch it, and just to see what they do with it, and you might be interested. But again, I don't know what they're gonna do that will make me really care about what happens next. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So please tell me your thoughts on the movie in the comments, or about this video. Remember to save the blobfish, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.